She finally tells the truth about Robin Williams when she is 78 years old. She was born in Pasadena, California, on November 6, 1946. The full name of her is Sally Margaret Field. Growing up, Field was around people who worked in the show business. Mary Field was her mother and Jock Mahoney was her father. It was Jock Mahoney who did stunts and Margaret Field who played parts. These early influences, along with Southern California's rich cultural scene, helped her develop her artistic sensibilities and become deeply aware of the challenges and rewards of a job in show business. Field first became famous in the 1960s when she played the lead role in the funny TV show Gidget 1965 to 1962. Even though the show only ran for one season, she became famous for playing a young, realistic, and wild teen. After this success, she had another famous TV part in The Flying Nun, 1967 to 1970, where she played Sister Bertriel, a strange new nun whose habit made her like she could fly. Field's natural charm and funny timing made the show a hit, even though the idea behind it was silly and a bit limited. She became one of the most likable TV stars of the time. But as Field's career grew, she felt forced to turn away from the stereotypical characters who had shaped her early years. She did a lot of studying to become known as a serious dramatic actress. One of the places she learned was at the Actors Studio with the famous Lee Strasberg. She kept going until she hit bigger and harder parts, which showed how versatile she was. When she played a young woman with dissociative identity disorder in the 1976 TV movie Sybil, she made a big step forward. The part called for a lot of emotional intensity, and Field's honest, open performance won her an Emmy and praise from reviewers all over the world. It changed the course of her career forever and made her known as a serious actress who could handle difficult material. The late 1970s and early 1980s were Field's best years. She became famous and became one of Hollywood's most sought-after starring ladies at that time. In the 1979 movie Norma Rae, she played a Southern working-class woman who dreams of becoming a fierce labor union leader. For the part, she won her first Academy Award for Best Performer. The movie not only showed how good she was as an actress, but it also had a strong message about problems in society that people could relate to. Field won her second Oscar for Best Actress in 1984 for her role in the sad movie Places in the Heart, which was set during the Great Depression. In her famous statement that won her the award, she said, "You like me right now, you like me." People now think of that event as one of the most famous in the history of the Academy Awards. Field's dedication to her craft and ability to balance work in theater, TV, and movies showed how versatile she was. She has been in many movies over the years, such as Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, Steel Magnolias, 1989, Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, and Forrest Gump, 1994. In roles on TV shows like Brothers and Sisters, 2006 to 2011, for which she won another Emmy, she made a lasting mark on viewers by giving her characters depth, realism, and love. She was always shining on TV. She also made her Broadway appearance in shows like The Glass Menagerie, where she was praised for how charismatic she was. Her later work has been just as amazing. She was nominated for an Academy Award for her role as Mary Todd Lincoln in Steven Spielberg's 2012 movie Lincoln. A lot of people liked how she played the part. Even though she is in her 70s, she has kept working steadily, which shows how much she loves acting and sharing stories. Besides her work, Field has also been praised. People also respect her personal life because it is strong, honest, and real. She has been honest about her problems, such as having doubts about her abilities, the stress of being in Hollywood, and problems in her personal relationships. Pieces, her autobiography published in 2018, was an honest look at her life. It included the highs and lows of her work as well as her personal problems, such as her trying to figure out who she is and dealing with difficult family situations. Like her acting, the book was praised for being honest and having a lot of emotional depth. Aside from the fact that Sally Field is a famous actor, people are interested in her personal life. She went through some interesting changes in her family and relationships while she was an actor. Field got married to Stephen Craig for the first time in 1968. Field was just starting out as an actress at the time. Once she got her big break-in gig, she became famous all over the country when she was in The Flying Nun. Because she was married to Craig, her life was stable while she lived in the fast-paced world of Hollywood. They had problems with their relationship, which led to them breaking up in 1973 and getting divorced in 1975. Field respected the time she spent with him because it was during this time that she had her first child. Their mother had a big impact on both of their sons, who went on to do well in creative areas. Craig, their first child, was born in 1969. Peter grew up with movies and books around him, which made him want to be a writer and director when he got older. Hollywood has taken notice of his work because he has written or added to hit movies like The Town, 12 Strong, and Top Gun: Maverick. Eli Craig, their second boy, was born in 1972. It was more his thing to act and direct, but he loved movies too. Because he directs movies and acts, Eli is well known. Tucker and Dale vs. Satan is one of his best-known movies and a fan-favorite horror comedy. Not good. Field's job as a mother has always been an important part of who she is. Even though she was famous, she often juggled the stresses of Hollywood with her duty to raise Peter and Eli and give them the most normal childhood possible. Following the end of her marriage to Craig, Field's personal life changed a great deal when she started dating actor Bert Reynolds in 1976. People were interested in their relationship right away because they were one of the most famous couples in Hollywood in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Field and Reynolds worked together in their personal lives and at work. They were both in 4 movies together: The End, 1978, Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, Smokey and the Bandit 2, 1980, and Hooper, an action comedy. They were one of the most talked about pairs in movies and magazines because of how well they acted together and how much they loved each other in real life. Like many Hollywood relationships, theirs wasn't easy. Even though they loved each other very much, their desperate personalities and the expectations of fame caused tension. In 1980, they broke up for good after being together for 4 years. But their love for each other stayed strong, and they continued to date on and off until 1982, when they went their separate ways for good. Reynolds finally told Field how he felt about her, and he often called her the one that got away. Unfortunately, Field's relationship ended, but it was a big event in her life that changed her work and personal path. Field married film director Alan Griezmann in 1984, which was another step toward having children. Getting married was the start of a new part of her life. Their son was born in 1987. His name is Samuel Sam Griezmann. While his older half-brothers have mostly worked in Hollywood, Sam has mostly worked outside of Hollywood. He has stayed out of the public eye for the most part, but he has written and directed some things. Field has supported Sam in public and been proud of him many times, especially after he came out as gay. These days, Field is so close to her kids that she fights for LGBTQ+ rights. Even though Field and Griezmann worked hard to keep their marriage together, they got a divorce in 1994. The breakup was hard, but it brought to light something that had been going on in Field's life for a while. How strong she is and how she handles personal problems while still being successful at work. Sally Field has shown that her personal life is just as complicated and full as the role she has played on screen through her marriages, relationships, and time as a mother. She was shaped as an actress by every part of her life, from her early years with Stephen Craig to her short relationship with Bert Reynolds to her marriage to Alan Griezmann. She also went through love, loss, and happiness as a mother to 3 sons, who all show her strength and creativity in their own ways. Sally Field is 78 years old and has had a very interesting life. There will be a lot of stories about her in Hollywood for a long time. Her life has been full of both happiness and sadness. She feels safer telling the truth about the people who have had the most impact on her life over the last few years now that she is further along in her journey. The most shocking and moving things she said were about her friendship with the late Robin Williams. Williams was a famous comedian and actress who left an indelible mark on many people, both on and off the big screen. In her own words, Field said that her feelings for Williams were very unclear. "I loved him a lot, but we weren't dating." She went on to say that it was more difficult than that because their personal and professional lives overlapped. They met for the first time on the set of the popular 1993 movie Mrs. Doubtfire. Field played Miranda Hillard, Williams' ex-wife. It was clear that they were a great fit for the millions of people watching. They got into a fight. The two talked. Even with everything, there was a love that seemed real, almost too real to be true. Field admitted that her relationship with Williams wasn't just a front. Instead, it showed how close they were at the time. However, Field admitted that she was sad and felt bad about what she did. He replied, "I miss him very much, but I also know that I didn't always say the things I should have said when he was alive." Field has been more open about her weakness and the shame that can come with losing a loved one too soon in recent years. Many people would think that her relationship with Robin Williams was a typical love story, but it wasn't. They had a special bond because he was not only her co-star, but also a friend. She remembered that working with Williams was like going to a different world. He had a mind that was always coming up with new ideas, jokes, and energy that could have made everyone on set gasp for air. Field told her that it was fun to be worn out by Robin. His jokes would make you laugh so hard they hurt. Then, just when you thought he couldn't surprise you any longer, he would say something so sweet and tender that it would hurt. It was like the poet, the clown, the wind, and the silence all came together to form one person, and she knew it was Williams. Field said that Williams made her feel protective of him even when he was happy because she could always tell he was hurt. She went on, "I could see the sadness even when he was making everyone laugh. It was like a shade on him that never quite left." Now that he is older and has more life experience, Field wishes he had worked harder and reached out to more people to make things easier. She thought about whether he ever really knew how much everyone loved and valued him, but especially those closest to him. The thought of Williams made her feel both thankful and sad. In a soft voice, she said, "I feel so lucky to have met him." That didn't make sense to him. His heart and mine were a lot alike. It was something that people saw on TV. Field says that Robin Williams shows how thin the line between right and wrong is and how important it is to speak out even when we don't want to. At age 78, Sally Field has decided she will not hold back any longer. By finally telling these truths about Robin Williams, she is remembering a friend she loved and teaching a lesson about love, being honest, and time passing. Her words praise Williams's intelligence while also being honest about problems they still haven't fixed. Everybody learns from them to tell the truth before it's too late.